My dad died.
I'm so sorry. Can I cheer you up?
Tell me a joke.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Not your dad, ha ha ha.
Are you serious?
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy, and this week we're talking Demolition Man. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Dun 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 dun. Hi everyone.
Wait, what are you doing? What was that?
I'm doing music from Loki because my wife's watching the second episode.
I was going to say that is nothing in Demolition Man.
No, but right before we started recording, I could hear her watching Loki in the next room, and I really like the music to Loki.
The music to Loki is great. The end credit music to the premiere was more in line with the very quick opening credits, which aren't really opening credits. But then this week, it was what you were humming, which is a sort of a more darker, sinister theme because of the way episode 2 ended.
Yes. I also like, I was watching it with subtitles, and I liked when it said the subtitles told me Theremin playing. I was like, yeah,
Theremin was
Theremin
playing
yes.
in Renslayer's office. I think that was the scene.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, I was going to say some things, but I realized I was going to say something that I don't really think is a spoiler, but I realized people probably haven't watched Loki episode 2 yet.
Sure. Okay.
We have the Mattitude Eric, like I said. You can find us on Twitter at the Matt Fowler and the Eric Goldman. The podcast is at We Enjoy Podcast on Twitter and on Patreon at patreon.com/We Enjoy Podcast. You can get a commercial-free version of this podcast that doesn't interrupt you for ads about burgers or sex pills or streaming services or reverse mortgages. I don't know what people get. It'll just be us yapping about with no interruptions. So Eric, you were away last week, which is one of the reasons, or the reason really why we pre-recorded our Loki chat and our hackers chat. And because you went into the gaping maw of theme park madness, you're part of your Hot Boy theme park summer. So where'd you go?
I went to Orlando. First and foremost to cover the opening of the Velocicoaster at Universal Studios Orlando, or actually I should say Universal Orlando Resorts Islands of Adventure, which is the new Jurassic World coaster there. Which is freaking awesome. It's really good. I gotta tell you, Universal Orlando is kind of killing it with the rides. That Hagrid coaster they opened a couple years ago is great. I got to go to the Born Stuntacular, and besides having an amazing name, it was actually a really cool show. It was really cool. It was cool, but it was also weird because A, I hadn't been there in 2 years, which for me is a long time to not go to Orlando theme parks. B, because I knew I would be going from Los Angeles, which until yesterday, as we record this, was still masking up everywhere, to Orlando, where it was not going to be a lot of masks. So it was kind of crazy to kind of have that shift to everyone unmasked and no rules in the theme parks at all about it so quickly. And of course, it was 1,000 degrees and humid, but that's kind of par for the course.
So for the Born Stunt Spectacular, which I personally would have called the Born Ultra Mayhem,
sure,
at Universal Studios in Hollywood, not Hollywood, in Universal City in Southern California. Part of the kitsch, awesome nostalgia of that place is their stunt show, which for many, many years, with both of us growing up, it was the A-Team, which existed long after that show went off the air. And now it's still, to this day, the Waterworld Stunt Spectacular. Is this
and you're forgetting about the Miami Vice era that happened.
Okay, yeah. So in between, so the point being is that with each of these properties, 2 being TV shows, 1 being a movie, none of them ever synced up with the actual popularity of that project when it was happening, and just sort of existed afterward. Waterworld being the most notoriously being a movie that bombed and was panned and is sort of ridiculed. The stunt shows themselves are obviously fun. So for the Born Stunt show down there, did they replace something that was out of touch, out of date?
Not well, yes and no. It replaced T2 3D. It's an indoor show. So replaced that, which TT3D, if you never saw it, was an indoor show that was live stunts mixed with movie footage. And that's what this is, but in a much more modern way, the Bourne Stuntacular. So it's like live actors on stage doing stunts, but there's behind them a really, really impressive screen that makes it look like it's part of what they're doing. So if Bourne is like street fighting, like the crowd is mostly a screen behind him with a few real people, but it looks like crystal clear, and it like spins around with him, and he gets in a real like bike, but a police car is on the screen chasing him, and it's really impressive. I was like, this is very well done.
But they didn't use Bourne Ultra Mayhem. They also didn't go with the Bourne Suprema Melee.
No,
none of these.
No, but it did involve Julia Stiles reprising her role from the films.
I did see that. Yeah, I saw that online.
But Waterworld, by the way, it's very popular as a stunt show. They keep opening it at their Asian theme parks. And also, I will say one small Loki spoiler for episode 2, which is Mobius, Owen Wilson's character, would love the Waterworld stunt show.
Oh, with his obsessions with jet skis. You mean Chekhov's jet ski? Because that has to A, come back in some way, and B, if it's an actual hero moment for him that involves somehow jet skiing through an explosion.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
All right.
And then I also went to Disney World only for one day. Didn't have a lot of time there, but I went to Epcot. And do you know the Flower and Garden Festival there, Matt?
Yeah.
Which is kind of, they have the.
I like all of their food festivals. Because they have vegan things you can eat, so I like it.
They have food and wine in the fall, and then a flower and garden in the spring. It's awesome. It's just so many good food kiosks you walk around and try. And we found what was like the most magical thing of all, which was an indoor area with 3 kiosks, air conditioned. It's kind of tucked away to the side, and that was magical. And we got to go on the Three Caballeros ride. It has a different name. It's not called the Three Caballeros ride, but it's always Three Caballeros ride to me at Epcot. It's like we only did 2 rides, but that's fine. We were all about the food at Epcot. And there was much delicious food from around the world to be had. And we ate at our favorite Japanese restaurant, Teppanyaki there, which is the cook in front of you. What do they call that? What's the name of it?
Hibachi style. It's a hibachi grill, like Benihana style.
Yeah, and there's still, at least when I was there, things are changing so quickly.
They make the onion volcano. They throw the shrimp in your face. Yep. They do the fake mustard.
All the fun stuff.
The classics. Play the hits. That's what I yell at them.
It's been a week, so I wonder if it's changed. But when we were there a week ago, they were only keeping 2 parties per table with a plastic partition in between us, which was nice. It's nice to have the arm room around us. The
first time I had hibachi style food was in Warren, Ohio, visiting my grandparents. So in the middle of like kind of bumfuck downtrodden nowheresville, like they had opened up a hibachi restaurant. I don't know how long it lasted, but that's the only place I wanted to go forever.
Hopefully it's still there. Doing good.
No, nothing's still there. I doubt it. Not even the town. I think it was wiped out, and then the big timeline purge. Let's see. Demolition Man is a great movie. We'll talk about that in the main event today. But we also have some news that we'll quickly get through. I say that knowing we won't quickly get through anything. With all in the midst of E3, so a lot of video game news and previews and trailers and stuff coming out over the past several days. Something broke basically about the Caped Crusader, Batman himself, and the Harley Quinn show, the Harley Quinn series, which Eric and I both really enjoy. And I don't even know if we need to make it one of our official good things to enjoy. We just recommend it, and you should watch it. It is on HBO Max, and
it's an R-rated show.
It's an R-rated show. I'll try not to tangent at the end about R-rated superhero stuff, but this is a very funny show. It's really well made, and Justin Halpern, co-creator and executive producer of the Harley Quinn series, who he's from Shit My Dad Says, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. He basically was mentioning how DC told them that they could not have a scene where Batman was going down and performing oral sex on Catwoman. And the reasoning he got for that, if you've seen Harley Quinn, you know that they get away with quite a bit. And so that seemed like a strange bridge too far. And the reasoning that they got was quote unquote, heroes don't do that, which set social media and Twitter afire that day with not so much outrage as just snark and jokes and stuff like that, because Halpern went on to say something like, are you saying heroes are selfish lovers? And they were like, no, we're trying to sell toys, and it's hard to sell a toy if Batman's always also going down on someone. It's just funny where, we can also get into this discussion of like how violence is openly and readily accepted, and murder and all forms of entertainment, but sex is this still this awful taboo subject.
Sometimes we'll see Batman kill in a movie, but we will never see him perform oral sex.
I always think of The Walking Dead as far as like a show that drew in and got huge numbers forever and was a huge breakaway pop culture sensation that featured most times more gore than I would actually see in a horror movie.
Yep.
Like it had some really gnarly, disturbing things, and this is something that the families would gather around the hearth with their soup and watch like a loving unit, and they would watch this really grotesque stuff. Anyway, so my take on this is it's weird that like they think that they can't sell toys because of that. That's a weird reasoning, and I think it's just stemming from something else. But I've always thought, and this is before this came out, I've had conversations with other people about this, that Batman would be extremely good at eating pussy. Like, I really think he would be. And I'll tell you why.
And not think that sentence was going there. Okay,
no.
yes.
I'll tell you why. I've talked about this with other people, is that because he has this facade, right? Like, he has to be Bruce Wayne. He has to be a
playboy.
He has to be a playboy. He's also a dark and brooding and psychologically disturbed individual. I'm just saying that there are moments when he's taking these models home that he probably doesn't want to perform. He's probably can't perform, or he's just not interested in it because he's too busy thinking about Crime Alley and his mom being murdered in front of him. And so his recourse is to be there for them, as Monica was talking to Joey about on a 1994 episode of Friends, like just being there for them and pleasuring them with oral sex in a way that he can be intimate with people in a way that, is gratifying to them, and that they won't, he can't have every woman that comes over sign an NDA saying that that she won't talk about how he just sat in the corner and cried all night. Like he has to be good at something. And
sure.
So I feel like he's actually really good at it. So for them to say that heroes don't do that, which is funny, because what are heroes if not people who do things for other people constantly? That's what they do. They do things for other people.
Sure.
But then also it's just tying it into some shitty, antiquated notion of masculinity, probably too. So.
Yeah, it was. Twitter had a ball. There was much fun. Matt and I both had the similar experience of being off Twitter for a couple pivotal hours and not knowing what was going on when we returned, because you're seeing people making references out of context.
So after a few, just being like, it's like, but does Clayface eat ass? I'm like, what is happening? Why are people keep referencing like Batman and his rogues gallery and what they do in the bed? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
By the way, Clayface does eat ass, but I'm saying
it's always fun when you're trying to catch up on stuff like that. And sometimes it leads you to something horrific, or like, oh no, or sometimes it's just something funny. This was something funny. It bonded everyone on Twitter.
It did. And because Batman Forever is enjoying an anniversary, 25 years, is that right?
Yes.
Batman Forever?
No, Batman Forever is 26 years. We're just talking about it because we talk about things.
Okay, so I guess we're celebrating 26-year anniversaries now for Batman Forever. But anyway, there have been some articles written about it. But because maybe it's been on social media the past couple of days, Val Kilmer also funnily tweeted about this Batman news item, posting a picture of his Batman. And I think that he said something like, does he or doesn't he, like asking people like does he perform oral sex on Chase Meridian? I don't know. I don't know about Val Kilmer's Batman. Do you think he does it? I think this is I haven't done the rant on this podcast about it, but I probably did on a previous podcast. But just that movie is the movie where Batman forgets why he's Batman and nobody talks about it.
I know.
So I don't have faith in that Batman at all to do anything right. So
I did laugh a lot that Justin Halpern, after all of that happened, just tweeted out, so watch Harley Quinn on HBO Max, like not knowing
great
his quote
publicity
would become,
for Harley Quinn,
right? Not realizing that his quote would become this insanely, talked about.
I think I wanted to talk about something that has stuck in my mind for the past couple of years, and it sort of kicks it. Basically, we talked about the Snyder Cut. We talked about like how Zack Snyder just isn't our thing. Like we don't vibe with that, his style, with his nihilistic worldview, etc. I also recently listened to, on a long road trip, the How Did This Get Made for the Snyder Cut, which is
I listened to that as well.
But basically, the idea of, and we've grown up with this, and we were like this as teenagers in some regard too, where it's like we wanted we loved it if a superhero was like, oh, what if Batman? I just wish Batman was rated R. Like,
right.
Like we went through this phase.
Everyone goes through that.
You grow out of this phase, is what I'm saying. But some people just don't grow out of it, and they want everything dark and brooding and R, and not for kids. Like there are adultists out there, which is a real term, like people who hold kids in contempt and don't like children and don't think children should enjoy anything, and things should be made only for them. But like, the idea that people only want this version of Superman and Batman as killers and murderers and people who are like very much not superheroes in the traditional sense, from Zack Snyder, who's gone on record saying he doesn't like traditional superheroes. And so
a lot of it will turn into, because that's what would happen in real life. And we're like, but who fucking cares? This is it doesn't need to be that. It's imaginary. It's aspirational. It's fun stories. It doesn't need to be like if Batman really exists, of course he'd kill. Well, he doesn't. And if he did, in the comic books, he can be whatever we want.
There were 4 people on this How Did This Get Made, and one of them's mentioned how shitty it was. It's like there's an entire generation growing up with Superman being that,
right?
Like where's their Superman? Like the kids aren't into Zack Snyder's DCEU, not like the way they are with the Marvel movies. Like this is their Superman and their Batman, and this is what they're growing up with. They have no aspirational, motivational heroes that they want to be. What kid wants to be Henry Cavill's Superman? That is a morbid costume and persona to adopt.
I mean, there's a much more traditional and very likable Superman on CW. I just understand that it's a much smaller audience watching that show.
No, I totally agree. And that's why I think that, and I watched the first 2 episodes of that series, and I think that's why people enjoy it so much, is because it is I'm not saying like the Superman people are used to. I'm just saying like there's a joy to it and a hope to it, and that's what we want from heroes, kind of like not just Superman, even though he embodies a certain grandiose aspect of that. But the gatekeeping aspect of only wanting things being R so that kids either are forbidden to watch it or just aren't interested in it or don't understand it, and it's not accessible to them, is really shitty. Okay.
It is. Someone tweeted, I think it was a tweet, comment, something the other day, but someone was like going off about how we should have an R-rated. It sucks that we've never had an R-rated Hulk movie. And I was like, what are you talking
What do they want from R-rated Hulk?
Like, so he can kill people. I'm like, no, that's not the Hulk. Like it's
Eric, they really just want to see Hulk's dick.
I guess so.
I think that's it. I think that's
all his butt in Ragnarok, but that wasn't enough.
Oh, his little tushy. Okay. Let's move on to I put this in here. I'm going to mention this really quickly because you don't give a shit about Borderlands, even though I do. Anyway, they've been filming the Borderlands
border
movie.
talk.
No. Well, you know that Jamie Lee Curtis is in Borderlands. She's playing Tannis in that movie. She's very fun on Instagram. I follow her, and she posts a lot of sort of behind the scenes stuff, but also just like cast goofing off photos, but among other things. But she took everyone out to lunch. Not everyone, but a majority of the cast and producers, director, etc. So like Eli Roth's there, Gina Gershon, a bunch of people. But in the middle of the photo, because it's a photo of a long brunch table, and in the middle of it, almost like at the head of the table, and I'm sort of zooming in on my phone. I'm like, who is that?
Enhance.
It was Josh Hartnett. Like And I was like, isn't
Her
it so
son
cool that-
from H2O.
Yeah, like, isn't it so cool that like 20 years later that she and Josh Hartnett are still good friends? Like they're having like
That's amazing.
yeah. So that's why I literally wrote in the notes, remind me to tell you this story that you'll care about. So,
Well, one day we'll do the Halloween movies and we'll talk about the multiple timelines that series presents, and we'll talk about H2O.
Hartnett was just in Wrath of Man.
He was.
Yes. Okay. It is being said, because we can only be told these things, we can't actually record them, but it's actually being said that by Disney CEO Bob Chapek or Chapek. How do you say his name?
I think
Okay.
Chapek.
He announced that Loki had the most watched premiere on Disney Plus during its opening week.
Anything so far.
Yeah, of anything so far, we're taking him at his word. And then he said the studio revealed that Disney Plus has now officially grown beyond 103 million subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And that also was close to the news. Whether or not this actually affects future MCU shows or Star Wars shows, we don't know yet, I think, because Loki is on Wednesdays, which is sort of a break from the very short tradition that these shows have had. But going forward, it's been revealed that Disney is going to release its original programming on Wednesdays in general. And I think the news is that it's only for like its Disney Plus original shows. So not like the Star Wars and MCU shows, but like Turner and Hooch and the other shows, like,
See, I think that was I think it was saying all of them. There was a weird placement. Literally, there was like a weird placement of like a semicolon, but I'm pretty sure it was saying that no, actually, that's saying that all of them will, including Star Wars and Marvel.
Okay, well, I like that news better.
Yeah,
your news is better than my news because I was hoping that it was all of them, because that would be annoying if like some of them were Wednesday and then these would continue to be on Friday or Wednesday. So Wednesday, and maybe the decision was made because of that. The numbers the Loki premiere pulled, Well,
so. It was interesting. I noticed that they announced a couple of weeks ago that Monsters at Work, which is the Monsters Inc. animated series, that would also be debuting on Wednesdays, and they moved it. It had previously had a Friday premiere date, then they moved it. But now they're just saying everything, at least for the foreseeable future, anything this summer, at least in the next month and a half. Steppenwall and I were saying here, I'm just trying to get the phrasing here of why it was a little confusing. Wednesday, so the Wednesday schedule, I think they rewrote this actually. The Wednesday schedule is strictly for original series, including The Mandalorian and other Star Wars and Marvel TV series. I think they slightly rephrased that because it was confusing people. Because Steppenwall and I were saying on Twitter, at some point I think they'll probably start quote unquote programming multiple days. Simply because they're going to have so many shows, and especially because I don't think they're ever going to put, I could be wrong, but I feel like they're going to try to avoid putting a live action Star Wars show and a live action MCU show on the same day. And at some point, I think they will have them airing at the same time because they have so many coming of both. So I wouldn't be shocked if at some point we see Wednesday be one day and then some other day of the week be another drop, for them. But I think just everything we've said, it makes sense to get away from Fridays, because that's when all the Netflix launches most of their stuff, and certainly most of their big stuff,
except Black Summer, which is launching on Thursday this week.
There's most for sure. Because I mean, when I say most, because I mean there is stuff Tuesdays and Wednesdays too. But
it's just random, seemingly, like what they release off Fridays. Yeah,
but Fridays is still most of the time their biggest shows.
Well, that's the thing is, like we mentioned, that they get the weekend and people can binge it and then forget about it by Monday.
Right. But I also think a big factor is going to be Disney's own movies, whether that be future releases that are both theatrical and Disney Plus Premier Access, which means that would be their big Friday debut anyway on Disney Plus. But certainly the MCU movies, which after Black Widow are supposed to go back to theatrical only, they don't want to compete with themselves. They don't want to be like, come to the theaters to see Shang-Chi, but at the same time, here's a new episode of What If.
And eventually, when we get into the holidays again, things will, like Thanksgiving week and so on. Things will also start opening on Wednesdays, but not like
but most of the time
every
it's Fridays.
Yeah. Okay. Some MacGruber series news, which is that Sam Elliott, Lawrence Fishburne, and Mickey Rourke, who is still going at it, I guess, have joined the MacGruber show, the MacGruber sequel series. Yes, yes, and those are all.
This news is from 8 days ago, but I just wanted to talk about.
I know,
MacGruber
but it's also funny because these are three guys I laugh at thinking about them standing next to MacGruber and MacGruber being an idiot. And then them like reacting to his idiocy, and it makes me laugh. Like Sam Elliott having
great.
to react to MacGruber is great. So is Lawrence Fishburne.
Sam Elliott plays his dad Perry. Lawrence Fishburne plays General Barrett Fasus, highly decorated soldier who commands the respect of the U.S. military.
I'm laughing at casting,
and he's married to MacGruber's ex-wife. And then the best is Mickey Rourke plays Commander Enos Queef. Matt, his name is Enos Queef, who's the bad guy, long thought dead, who's resurfaced to carry out a heinous plot to destroy the world and get revenge on MacGruber. So I'm in. MacGruber is
gonna be the best. This is gonna be the best series to ever exist.
Again, we're getting these like sequel series to everything, and it's crazy. These streaming services giving you these opportunities, like the love of content and the fact that like, you know, Peacock's like, sure, we'll make a MacGruber series, and I don't know how many people it's for, but it's for us, damn it. So that's all that matters.
It is. Well, one could argue Enos Queef is for everyone. Yes. Like that is not niche. Stuff. That is for everyone.
You'll be in.
All right, quickly. I'm gonna get through some emails here. Joy wrote in, or emails and Patreon notes. So Joy wrote in on Patreon. First off, I thoroughly enjoyed Class Action Park and Black Summer. Black Summer, everyone. Black Summer. I'm endlessly fascinated by Action Park after discovering the Defunct Land YouTube channel last year. Secondly, in your hackers discussion, you didn't mention the rabbit virus being stopped by sending a flu shot. Man, I thought that movie was so cool at the time. It's still very enjoyable now, kind of like watching Back to the Future 2 after living through 2015. Thanks. That's what Joey writes in. I'm always glad.
We'll talk in a moment with Demolition Man. We'll be talking more about, you know, movies that are set in the future that we've passed. And yeah,
Demolition Man is in 2032, though.
No, but I'm just the 1996 prologue.
Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah,
plenty of thoughts about that.
Well, that's the LA I remember. I don't know about you.
Sure, it's LA I'm living in. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When I see the Hollywood sign on fire, I'm like, that's just summer. What I'm saying is, it's not cold.
Simon Phoenix said, "Do not come down here."
Simon fucking Phoenix. What a fun movie that is. We're going to talk about it. Ryan writes in on emails. Hey, Ryan here. I wanted to say thank you for reading my email on the show. It made my day. I'm surprised Matt wasn't interested in funny games, but I can't say I blame you. It does have a little fourth wall breaking that kind of tackles the genre of Hollywood home invasion movies. And it does kind of have a mind melting ending that intrigues you, if that intrigues you at all, if not all good. My question is, if either of you guys, more likely Matt than Eric, have played the game Dead by Daylight, or at least heard of it. Have you heard of that game, Eric?
No, I have not.
I had not either, and now I want to look up more about it based on Ryan's description. It's a multiplayer game with 4 survivors against 1 killer, and it does have some famous killers like Freddy, Michael, Jigsaw, and then he puts in parentheses Amanda specifically, and Leatherface and Ghostface, and even Ash and other famous
Wait, why does he think I wouldn't be as interested in this?
I don't know. I would have swapped those names. As big of fans, I mean, I did.
Those losers
did name my son after Ash.
No, we both love horror stuff. I'm just
and other famous characters as a survivor. So that's something that sounds really cool. I'm not super into the multiplayer aspect of like playing with people online if that's the only way you can play it, but it's something I'll Google. Google it.
I mean, you play more video games than me. I do understand that. So.
Yeah, I do. Let's see. Mike from San Antonio, and we can save this for next week if we want.
But I'm the one who has the Friday 13th game. I will mention.
I had it too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Why did we never play that? We should have played that. Huh.
Well, fuck you. All right. Mike from San Antonio writes in on the email, and you can write into at weenjoypodcast@gmail.com. With his run coming to an end soon on TBS, I was curious if y'all had any thoughts, reflections on the wackiness of Conan O'Brien and what he brought to the art form. And if you are fans of any other late night shows from over the years, thanks. That might be a larger discussion, but I do know that you and I were both Conan fans, especially when he was doing late night.
Yeah.
And you and I both worked for IGN covering TV during the entire Tonight Show debacle when he was there for a few months, and then NBC balked and made him start at midnight so that Jay Leno could have an hour-long show starting at 11.
Well, they asked him to do that, and he refused, and that's why he left. What an interesting, such a fascinating thing, because he was still doing his show while this sort of public fight happened, and he got to even do a farewell show, which is kind of surprising. Conan's great, and he definitely felt like very revolutionary at the time. I mean, obviously things keep evolving, but he brought like an eccentricity that I think was very unique at the time to what he was doing. Things like in the year 2000, a lot of those segments were just really funny and quirky and a little like left the field in a different way than I know Letterman was already kind of his own, especially compared to Carson. But yeah, it felt like Conan was, at the time bringing a younger sensibility. He was pre the YouTube type things, but he was already, I think he was kind of leaning in that direction. The stuff he was doing was on the way to the kind of viral stuff.
Yeah, his stuff was more abstract, and it was more like, hey, let's just try this. And the stuff that actually became recurring bits was so crazy you wouldn't even think that they could like break out as hits. But like,
what was the guy yelling?
Okay, so Eric and I will always remember. I mean, there were other ones like Pimp Bot and other characters, but he had an occasional bit where he's like, let's see what's on other channels. And he would pull out a remote control and like look at what's going on right now on other channels.
Right.
And one of them was called the Clive Clemens Inappropriate Response Channel.
Inappropriate. That's right.
So it was basically a made up British rock legend guitar player named Clive Clemens commenting on inappropriate responses. So, for example, someone at work in a cubicle is like, this coffee is sure great. And the other person says, God bless Saddam Hussein. And so, or someone else was like, I'm going on a vacation with my mom this weekend. And the other guy goes, kinky. So these are like inappropriate responses. But the point is that this British guy would come on like doing the devil sign with his hand, and like you'd hear this guitar riff like meow, 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 and he would go inappropriate, and it would like freeze frame on it. And so it just became a really funny running joke. I know Brent Simons really likes inappropriate as well.
That was great. And the other thing I just thought about that again, definitely kind of saw the future of where we were going, was the Walker Texas Ranger lever, which again, he was doing that bit pre-YouTube, certainly pre-social media, because now we get so much mileage out of, look at this cheesy clip from something from the past. But the Walker wheel, the lever, was just so funny to show like what these insane clips from Walker that out of context, of course, are going to be even goofier.
Was it specifically Conan that Rudd would use the Mac and Me clip on, or did he use it on all talk shows?
No, it was Conan, I believe. It was always Conan.
So whenever Paul Rudd would come on to plug a movie, he said, well, I brought a clip, and this went on for years.
Across multiple shows.
They anytime that, so when the clip would play, it was from the movie Mac and Me, where the kid is rolling down rolling down a hill in a wheelchair, like unable to stop, headed towards a cliff, and then he flies off the cliff. And
screams and crashes, and then an alien pops up.
All right. Anyway, big fans of Conan, but I haven't watched late night stuff like regularly and like as part of my televisual habits in years. So
I think I'm like a lot of people. I think I watch more than you, but I think I'm like a lot of people now, in that I do not watch entire episodes. But I love what Seth Meyers has been doing. I read Mike Ryan's article at Uprocks, where he talked to Seth Meyers and his producer, just went up today as we record this, about how great the show's been since they didn't have an audience, and how Mike Ryan's basically trying to convince them, don't bring an audience back. Seth Meyers has been doing a lot of really good stuff, and very biting. He got so political. I mean, a lot of the talk show hosts did to some extent, but Seth Meyers especially.
But specifically, I think Colbert and Myers the most. So
yes. So I've really been I watched Colbert to some extent too. Again, I don't watch whole episodes,
but I think also we're in a culture now where there are breakout clips the next morning. Like, so if
Yes.
anything, and we get PR emails just saying like, here's what happened on Jimmy Kimmel last night. And they give you the YouTube clips, like
they'll put, you can watch often a closer look, the Seth Meyers segment, which is his like most popular and it's a great segment. You can watch them often at 6 p.m. my time, hours before they're going to air on NBC.
Yeah. Like right after they tape them. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Let's head on to, let's mention our main event for next week and what we actually have planned for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into our good things to enjoy. So we are taking a little bit of a cue from what we did with Sam Neill, which is like you follow one actor through 2 different movies. And we decided to do that with Sandra Bullock. And we're doing her other breakout movie. This movie, Demolition Man, and this movie, Speed, were the 2 movies where she was just a delightful, like glowing scene stealer in both movies. And so much
Speed,
so that
we'll talk about, I mean, Speed was a way bigger hit than Demolition Man. So that made her a bona fide star. Like that was like a huge breakout for her.
And like to the point where the returning star for Speed 2 was her.
Right.
Like she was the one who carried the franchise into a sequel.
Right.
So not only did she get to headline her own movies like rom-coms, but she got to headline the next Speed movie. So that's how influential she was and how great she was. So we're going to actually do Speed and Speed 2. Those are our next 2 weeks. It's a mini franchise.
Yeah.
So that'll be
spoiler alert. The sequel's not great, but
yeah, we're going to get one good movie out of this.
Yes.
Okay. So let's do good things to enjoy.
Oh, and Speed is on HBO Max. You can rent and buy it everywhere.
And so is Harley Quinn. So just watch Speed and then watch some Harley Quinn.
Yeah, there you go. You will not see Batman performing oral sex, but you'll see a good show.
You will see that in Speed, though, strangely enough.
Sure.
My good thing to enjoy this week is another excuse, sort of. It's not like it's not a great movie that I just watched a few days ago. I still just want to talk about Black Summer. And one of the co-creators and directors of that series is John Hyams. So we mentioned 2 weeks ago when I recommended Black Summer, it's Peter Hyams' son. And just does incredible, thrilling work on Black Summer. He's not the only episodic director, but he's the main one. He's the executive producing one. And season 2 drops on Thursday of this week. So I actually did go back and rewatch the first season. It's not a long binge. So I know some other people mentioned to me on Twitter that they actually did it and found it was very helpful and rewarding. But he's done some movies. You mentioned how he had actually picked up his father's long-running relationship with Jean-Claude Van Damme and actually sort of revived the Universal Soldier franchise for 2 movies.
Yep.
In low-budget movies filmed in Bulgaria that are supposed to be good. Is that what you said?
The ones he directed, there are many Universal Soldier sequels, but people tend to very much enjoy the 2 that he directed. Yes.
So this is a movie called Alone. It came out in September of last year during the pandemic. I don't even know if maybe it had limited theatrical release. Maybe you could catch it at a drive-through here or there. Probably was on video on demand, but it went silently into the night because it was not just during a pandemic, but it was also a very small movie on top of it. It is I think there are 3 people in this movie.
Oh, wow.
It's basically, it's great. You can watch it on Hulu or Prime. It is a horror movie, thriller, I guess I would say, about a woman who's basically on the road and gets stalked and kidnapped by a guy, and then she escapes. It's basically her trying to escape this crazed person. So it's a very 2-person survival story that's really well done. And then there's like a 3rd person in there too. It stars Jules Wilcox, who I don't know from anything else, but looking at her credits, she's just done a handful of TV here and there, like a couple episodes of this and a couple episodes of that. But she's the main character in this. And then it also stars as the Grosso killer guy, Mark Menchaca. I don't know how you say his last name, but if you watched The Outsider, the Stephen King HBO limited series, he was in that and as sort of the possessed cop. And so you can see what the menacing quality of this guy just in that. And then it also stars Anthony Heald, who I brought up recently as an actor that my mom and dad know from Yale Drama School. He was Chilton in Silence of the Lambs. He's actually in this. It's very striking to see him playing someone kindly. Like, I think I've only seen him play shitbags.
Yeah, he definitely did a lot of that.
Because he's a smarmy smugness to him. I think he just gets typecast as character actors do sometimes. Anyway, he's in this too. I thought it was really exciting. It's a small movie. It's just intimately gripping and scary film.
That sounds cool. I shall check that out. My recommendation is a very recent release, about a month old, a movie called Plan B, which is a Hulu original movie that you can watch on Hulu. I actually saw it in the theater. It had like a one theater release here in LA, so I went to check it out there with my AMC A-list. But yeah, this is a comedy. It is directed by Natalie Morales, who is a great and funny actress, who was on The Middleman, a show that one day I'll talk more about. I almost made it a good thing to enjoy, but
I follow Natalie Morales on TikTok. How about that?
Oh, I follow her on Twitter.
I do too. She talked about, in her talks. I don't know what you call the videos. She talked about the making of this movie.
Her talks. I get it.
Get it?
I do.
She gave a little bit of backstory about how this movie got made and so forth.
Oh, it's interesting because she has two movies. She had never directed a feature before. Now she has two coming out this year. She has another one coming, language lessons, that's coming down the line that she directed. I think that one's a drama, but this one's a comedy. And it's about two high school girls. And basically it's like, it's on one hand, it's like sort of a high school buddy road trip movie. Although the setup is like, about these two teen girls, one of whom loses her virginity in kind of a like awkward, just sort of non-romanticized, regretful way. Not, this sounds dark, but it's not. It's just kind of like, she got drunk at a party and realized she hooked up with someone and wants to go get the Plan B pill, and them kind of going to go get that, and hijinks ensue. It's just a really fun movie, really likable. I didn't know either of the lead actresses before, Kahu Verma, and then the other one, Victoria Morales, I guess, has done quite a bit. She was on a Disney show when she was younger. She was on Teen Wolf, but they're both very likable, really good rapport. It's easy to bring up Booksmart, and that's because there's so few movies about teenage girls.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how it compares to Booksmart, which is also very good. I do want to see Plan B. Like, it was something I wanted to see because it's easily accessible.
It compares very well, and I love Booksmart. This is doing its own thing. But you'll make comparisons because it's like, these two girls, and one of them is sort of the dorky one. One of them is more of like kind of a sort of goth chick ish. But yeah, just a really fun movie. Not really star driven. There's definitely some familiar faces like Rachel Dratch and some funny like comedic presences who pop up in sort of one scene roles. That are really fun throughout. It's very raunchy. There's a penis used to comedic effect at one point.
That's how penises should always be.
Right. But I very much enjoyed it, and has some sort of, I think without getting like preachy, it's definitely got some, something to say about, what the plot line is. By the way, the Cobra Kai guys, the three creators of Cobra Kai, were also producers on this. Just a lot of good people behind the scenes. And I thought she did a great job directing it. I think she might have directed the second after the other one, but still, for someone who's just starting out as a director, super talented. And I think you should check it out. And it is on Hulu. And
I do want to check that out. I will check that out.
You should.
So two movies to check out there, both easily streamable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I mentioned the reason I was recommending Alone is because John Hyams directed it. I think that was assumed, but
I got that.
Okay. I don't think I directly stated it, but that's why.
Sure.
Anyway. Okay. Speed next week, Speed 2 after that. Let's dig into the happy, joy, not happy, just joy feelings, really. Of Demolition Man. Demolition Man is ridiculous, but it's so enjoyable. And for the first time, I feel, I'm a stealth Oscar fan. Like, I like that movie, that Stallone movie, that silly.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I thought it was actually pretty good. But with Demolition Man, specifically because it came after Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, I don't think Stallone could ever really do a straight comedy the way he wanted to. He wanted to try all different types of things. He would write himself parts as like country music singers. He went like, sometimes the lags in his career came from him wanting to do different things and them failing because he just doesn't fit in every slot. And with Demolition Man, I think he finally cracked the comedy code that he can do. Like that it needs to be a comedy action movie specifically. I mean, I guess there was comedic elements to Tango and Cash, but not like this, which at times plays like a straight comedy.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this movie, there are two things that jump out to me about this movie. Well, there's a lot that jumps out to me, but as we're kind of doing this setup here, one, it was interesting because this movie came out just a few months after Stallone had one of his comebacks with Cliffhanger.
His 90s comeback specifically with Cliffhanger.
Yeah, which was like his first big action hit in quite a while, very well received. So this was his follow-up to that. And yeah, again, he's had, huge ebbs and flows. There's been times when he's been the biggest star on the planet. And then, like you said, he tried these sort of straight comedies that didn't work for him. Cliffhanger did really well.
I literally read a thing where Schwarzenegger said he feigned interest in Stopper My Mom Will Shoot. He didn't want to do it. He said the script was shit, but he pretended to want to do it so that people would tell Stallone that Schwarzenegger was interested in it. And then Stallone took it because he didn't want Schwarzenegger to take it. And it was like a trick.
those guys.
What a prank. What a Hollywood prank.
But the other thing, it's funny you mentioned Schwarzenegger, because that's what the other thing I was going to mention is that this movie opened a few months after Last Action Hero. And what always stands out to me about Demolition Man, because Demolition Man was marketed as a straight action movie.
Yes.
But Demolition Man is in fact pretty damn like meta and self-referential. And to me was the more successful, like meta, self-parody action movie of that year. Last Action Hero was the one promoted as such and was very in your face about. Like,
I didn't hate Last Action Hero.
I don't hate it either.
People, but the entire concept of Demolition Man, that John Spartan is the Demolition Man because he just causes so much damage, is a complete meta reference to the 80s cop hero characters that destroyed most everything and never seemed to suffer consequences for it. So it the setup of this movie is that he's one of those guys
right.
that you see in the movies.
I think this is the first time I caught that when they are doing, when they're watching old footage of him, and there's a very memorable part where the little girl says, "Fuck you," when the woman's like, you destroyed a $7 million mall to rescue a girl whose ransom was $25,000. But what I really like that I hadn't noticed in that part is they give Stallone his like 80s hair. He's got his like long shag, like they put him in a wig to look like 80s Stallone, which I thought was a great touch. There's a lot of stuff in this movie. Sandra Bullock has a line. What was it she says? She has a very funny line where she's like, "I really liked how you stopped to say that sarcastic witticism before." Like he does a one-liner and then she kind of calls him out for doing the one-liner.
And she even says, "I thought you were this type, but it turns out you're the tortured gunslinger."
Right.
Like she's literally like trying to like put him into an entertainment trope and like what kind of hero he is. So yeah, there is meta aspects to this. I also want to talk about at the top. We'll get into how great Sandra Bullock is. I still squeal every time I see her giddy reaction to getting invited to Taco Bell. Just how happy Lilina Huxley is to go to Taco Bell. She's like doing a little dance and she's just grinning ear to ear. Anyway,
she's adorable in this movie. I had a big crush on her after I saw this.
Oh yeah,
I literally had never seen her. She'd done like Love Potion #9 and a couple of things, but this was a movie that introduced me to her.
Do you know that she almost did Candyman instead of Madsen? Anyway,
I did not know, but we can of course talk about how she was not cast in Demolition Man. She replaced someone in 2 days into production. So.
She's so great, and so is Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
Now, I want to talk about, and we could just you can give me your thoughts on this too. Despite the fact that this is 50-50 comedy action, or even more 70-30 in favor of comedy. This is a Batman Joker movie. This is a Batman Joker movie. These personas, like Simon Phoenix with his hair and his carnival pants carnival parachute pants and his different color eyes and just the manic persona. Like Snipes is doing Joker here. Like you can consider him one of the unofficial on-screen Jokers of cinema, you know, because we talked previously how Clarence Boddicker was kind of like that. Speaking of Fred Dekker, who actually wrote some of this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like along with Clarence Boddicker, like Simon Phoenix is a movie Joker, and his relationship with John Spartan is a Batman Joker relationship. It's just the two of us. We're going to go through this time and time again. No one else matters. And the fact that they keep trying to kill each other and can't, like, that's the only difference, is that Spartan is actively trying to kill Simon Phoenix.
Right.
But yeah, I think that this is like, you could like make an argument that if somehow Batman and Joker got cryogenically frozen and woken up in the future, in a peaceful future, this is the movie you'd see.
I will say it's funny. I did note that John Spartan does not try to kill Simon Phoenix at the very beginning, for, you know, because I love the prologue and the fact that it shows that, you know, there's a history here, but John saves Simon Phoenix. He carries him on his shoulders.
He does, and maybe it's because he got sent to cryo prison afterwards. He's like, fuck it, I'm killing this guy.
No, exactly. Because I'm like, man, if he hadn't saved him, would John Spartan still have kind of been like, you know, named as responsible? Because Simon Phoenix is the one who was like, you said you didn't care, and I don't know how much people bought that.
Well, this is I think, you know, we're going to get into like a crazy satirical future, but the opening is the craziest part of this movie.
Yes.
A little bit, because in a few minutes we could talk about how inhumane cryo prisons are. Like that, like the fact that was a concept that got passed through somebody is crazy. But
the other thing I want to say, just going in with the casting, though, is that it is interesting to note that Wesley Snipes was like, you know, he was on the cusp of like even greater stardom. He had a crazy 93. He had Boiling Point, Rising Sun, and this movie. But, you know, he's coming off White Man Can't Jump. He did Passenger 57 the year before. But it was interesting to read that originally they thought they might cast Seagal and Van Damme, and like they wanted it to be a showdown movie, right?
Yeah, like a Freddie Jason, right? Exactly.
Right. Like it was supposed to be two, or Face Off. Like it was supposed to be two kind of equal standing people.
Like to do that, you kind of needed Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
You did, and then it was interesting. Stallone wanted Jackie Chan, who didn't want to play a villain. And then it gets referenced in the movie, though so is Stallone, so wouldn't matter. But yeah, it's interesting that Snipes ended up being the one, because he was much more up and coming, but it still totally works. And, you know, clearly he was on his way to doing and he did even more action after this, of course, with Blade and everything. I did also like that the opening credits, that Stallone, Snipes, and the title get a whoosh, a big sound effect that none of the other credits get.
Like Batman and Joker would, Eric.
That's right.
So this is a Batman Joker movie. The opening part, which I read Fred Dekker, this is one of his contributions to the rewrites, is that he added
Dekker, who did RoboCop 3, we should mention. Yes.
That he did the beginning LA stuff, because he's like, the future doesn't hit you as hard unless you can see what came before it. Like you need to see exactly the world that these two came from in order to appreciate them in the peaceful, silly world. So, Eric, there is no way John Spartan gets convicted of any of this. They skip over the trial, obviously, but at that trial, there is absolutely no way that they would convict him. First of all, the coroners would discover that these people died, like of the 30 or so passengers, any medical examiner out there would figure out that these people died of something other than burning up. Like there are so many ways that he would get let off the hook for this, that it's crazy that somehow he is not only convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 70 years, but it's in a cryo prison, which is okay. Upside of cryo prison, weirdly, why reward anyone in this perverse way, which is that you stay ageless and get to wake up in the future. But the cruelty, the absolute cruelty of it is, say goodbye to your friends and family. They're all going to die by the time we unfreeze you. Like that is so cruel. Like there's no visitation. There's no, like, your relationship with everyone is over. It is a ridiculous concept. I'm not dogging the movie, but it is just so like, this is a lot to processed within the first 7 minutes of this film.
Well, also, yeah, that whole idea of it. The funniest thing about the prologue is Los Angeles, 1996.
Yeah. And so Eric and I have mentioned that post LA riots, there were a handful of movies that portrayed LA, whether LA in the present or in dystopian sci-fi movies like this. LA is a war zone, a powder keg on the brink of constant explosion. Crime is rampant. Gang warfare is all over. So if we're talking this movie or Predator 2 or Strange Days, where Strange Days is just more like it's a
tanks
stick
on
of
Hollywood
dynamite.
Boulevard.
Yeah, it's a stick of dynamite with like a really short fuse, and there's like military presence on the street and stuff like that. So
I mean, there was, I think no matter what, we would have had the fear of the millennium creeping into these movies anyway. But because of the LA riots in 92, it made them all be LA. That was like, LA is where everything will really go to hell. And this
but this movie specifically, more than the others I mentioned, it doesn't seem like it's overrun with crime, Eric. It looks like a meteor hit. It looks like there was an earthquake and a tidal wave and a meteor all at once, because everything's on fire, and and somehow people still live there, even though there's no commercial airline.
It's a lot to add. Yeah, it's because there's a lot of movies now that are going to innately be funny about the fact that it's like, Escape from New York, great movie. But, of course, you chuckle when it says New York 1997, because that movie was made in 82. And so when they're predicting like 15 years in the future or whatever, and of course, it was nothing like that. This movie is very funny because it came out in 93. So they were saying within 3 years. Oh, yeah. Not LA, not only multiple things are going to happen. LA is just going to become this war zone, an on fire, criminally run war zone. And cryogenic technology will be developed in this amazing capacity
and passed,
and passed. The prisons, will exist.
Yeah.
So just think about seeing a movie now that said 2024, and this was what they were positing. Is, I guess we've had a really terrible year, and we can pause it a little easier.
I was going to say it sounds, but that tracks with me. So
I said it's easier to say in 3 years LA will become a war zone than the cryo technology and that all passes.
I like to imagine that the Hollywood sign is just perpetually on fire, like it's
just a cool effect.
It's the eternal flame. Yeah, it's something going that just keeps it burning. Because that's just cool to look up at, I have to say. Mm-hmm. So in A Bad Time, he was the worst. Simon Phoenix. I do like how you mentioned already. We enter. Again, Batman and Joker of it all. We enter into a feud that has been long running, and they already have history together, and we don't really need to know the specifics. We get it. Like, we understand this because we know that dynamic. We understand what's happening.
Even what you say to Joker is a good comparison too, because later on we'll see his criminal record, Simon Phoenix, and he's committing murders, it says, in like 85, but it's like the Joker just keeps breaking out, I'm sure. They keep him.
And now he's built himself like a weird kingdom in South Central, and told buses not to go in there. So he took a bus hostage. John Spartan's flown in by a young black helicopter pilot who we'll see later as an old character. Zach. But in this, he's played by one of the Johnsons from Die Hard. And I love how Stallone, he's got a lot of great lines in this movie. A lot of them very knowing and very winky, but they're great still. I bet you can't guess my favorite line, Eric. But one of them that, there are a lot of callbacks to lines too. Like, it's very knowing script. So like, John Spartan's like, send a maniac to catch one. But then when he jumps out of the helicopter, he screams, Phoenix! It's ridiculous. And so
Wesley Snipes quickly establishes a very fun delivery. He made me laugh a lot when Spartan says, where are the hostages? And he goes, well, they're fuck you. Passengers are gone.
But he has a great fuck you later on too, when he's getting fined for swearing.
Yeah,
he's really good. Like, Snipes is so good in this, and Spartan's shooting people. So the question of why he saved Phoenix at the end is still a curiosity, because he is gunning down Phoenix's goons.
I mean, those guys are coming at him, you know.
But also, like, it's funny to see it opens with him actually taking out people, because that's the last we'll see of him do that. Because one of the funny ongoing things in this movie that actually gets commented on in the end is Simon Phoenix and John Spartan shoot at each other so much and never hit each other in this movie. Mostly all they do is destroy things all around them, to the point where in the final fight of this, Simon Phoenix gets so frustrated. He's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, he's shooting at John. John's literally trapped in a giant claw, and he can't kill him with a gun. So the movie knowingly pokes fun at that too, about how these types of heroes and villains like do waste so much ammo and always miss each other, but not like the lower level villains.
Right.
So yeah, just skip over the ridiculousness of the how this trial would never lead to a conviction of John Spartan, and the fact that he's sentenced to be dead as far as his family's concerned, and everyone else, and be woken up like he's only woken up early to the point where his daughter is still alive because of Simon Phoenix. Like it wasn't his time. I can't remember when his parole was supposed to be, but like
no earlier. I think it was like
2046.
2046. Yeah.
That's crazy. So anyway, Wesley Snipes gives the Chekhov's I swear I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached line, which plays off later. And then Stallone's get all nakedy. He's pushing 50 in this movie almost, and he's still in great shape. You almost see his demolition junk.
Yeah, there's a lot of Stallone butt and near more in the opening credits.
And I read that Snipes improvised a lot in this movie, and it feels that way in a good way.
Yeah.
And one of the lines that makes me laugh at the end, not my favorite line, but one of the ones that laughs at the end, is when he's defrosting the villains at the end to like get 80 more maniacs out there. Some guy's being craned out, and he's like, Simon's like, I hope my butt doesn't look like that. Like,
I didn't catch that, but it's pretty
good.
Didn't
catch that? It's so great. It's wonderful. Anyway, okay. Let's talk about San Angeles and the future of 2032, which
is very large if it goes from Santa Barbara to San Diego.
Yeah, it's like basically Mega City 1 in a way from Dread. It's like a megaplex, they call it. I am in a metroplex, Eric. So if we're talking about like mega cities or something like that, I kind of come close where I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, which is two cities that are very close to one another, and all the surrounding areas, and making up a very, very large area, the DFW metroplex. And so, but not all our restaurants are Taco Bell. So what's the point?
This movie did film partially in Los Angeles, and it's funny because it was the first movie to use the Los Angeles Convention Center, which had just been newly rebuilt. Many movies have used it since, Starship Troopers, a lot of others. But the one funny thing is when they say specific streets, you know, there's like, oh, Phoenix is at the corner of Wilshire and whatever. It's not the real intersections because it's supposed to have been an earthquake and everything was rebuilt. So it doesn't need to be the real intersections.
The earthquake of 2010, the big one. Which,
I read they filmed a lot of it in Irvine, Matt, because they got those plain buildings that look perfect for like a sort of like very plain, like we just built these fabricated buildings.
Well, that's perfect because one year Eric and I were so hungry after a concert, maybe before or after a Lollapalooza, probably.
Yes.
Who knows? And we were looking for was something fast foody. And we were in an area of Irvine that didn't have anything except corporate buildings.
White corporate buildings.
Yes. One of them fooled us because one of them was the corporate headquarters of Taco Bell.
Right.
And it wasn't a Taco Bell. It was where everyone, like all the executives at Taco Bell worked. And
there was no Joy.
I was like, do they have a cafeteria?
Right.
that we could eat at, like as Taco Bell food? Anyway. Okay. 2032, San Angeles. This is when we get into a lot of funny stuff and almost at times Verhoeven style satire. Like when people are being murdered and the cop robot voice is like, would you like to call a coroner? You know, like there's there is a hint of like that going on that really works well.
And we should mention this is a movie that had like a lot of Hollywood movies, multiple writers, some credited, some uncredited, but the first person credited on the screenplay is Daniel Waters, who you can very much feel, and the reason he got first credit was because it was decided by the WGA. It was his, of all the scripts, it was his that was
mostly his, yes,
represented. Daniel Waters is the writer of Heathers and Batman Returns and Hudson Hawk, and is very quirky and satirical, and I think you can feel that's like the secret ingredient to this movie is like it's a Stallone movie with this like Daniel Waters tinge. Not
and Daniel Waters, he carries over greetings and salutations from Heathers, and
with an actor from Heathers, Glenn Shaddix, getting to say it. Yes, that had to have been an in-joke.
But we know him as Otho.
Yes,
from Beetlejuice. So, yeah, Daniel Waters, he talks about how he basically punched up and rewrote a lot of the script in like a few weeks. It was one of the easiest things he ever did. And you can really feel it. A lot of these lines really work. One doesn't. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who to blame for it. But one, there's a lot of, fun zingers back and forth during the action scenes until during a fight there at the museum between Stallone and between Spartan and Phoenix. Spartan, who's not as funny as Phoenix. So right. I'll preface it by saying that, but he's like, "You're on TV," and he swings a TV and hits Phoenix, and that's his one-liner. "You're on TV."
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is. I'm trying to remember 93. I know that the term politically correct came out in the 90s. There was even a movie called PCU. That was sort of lampooning political correctness. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like this was part of that snarking on political correctness. Like, look at the weenies who have now outlawed, they've outlawed spicy food. They've outlawed sex jokes or dirty jokes, like nothing can be funny. They talk like AIs. Like the joke is that they talk like robots, and they are, the way they even say like greetings and salutations or what is your boggle? They speak very like, instead of yes, they'll say affirmative or something like that. They speak like robots. And so the idea is that political correctness will rob us of all of our personality and joie de vivre and anything that makes human life worth living. On the flip side of that is Dennis Leary's Edgar Friendly living underground, who's like what we recognize as a human being of the 20th century.
Leary coming off, kind of a sort of breakout time for him. But also, I'm impressed by this movie because you're absolutely right. It's definitely sort of sending up the over PC nature of things. But at the same time, it gets to have its cake and eat it too, because it's also sending up the sort of machismo thing.
It does. It gets both sides because.
Like she has that great line about this is how insecure heterosexuals used to bond, which is a line that was kind of ahead of its time, right? Like even being in this movie,
Well, you and I are fans. We grew up in the 80s and and in the 90s, and there were movies. There was a whole, looking back at them, I wouldn't use the word problematic, but the element of cop action movies. There's the most prevalent through line of all of those movies is that these cops have to break the rules in order to catch the bad guys because the rules protect the villains.
Right.
And
stop them from doing their job.
So the rogue cop who goes off book and does his own thing and gets yelled at by the sergeant, he's the hero.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to think about, but that's what these movies were. Like the true villains can hide behind lawyers and the law and, but we know that the law needs to be taken into our own hands. Even though we've been sworn to uphold the law, we're going to be vigilantes in a sense. Like Lethal Weapon was totally built all about that. Like the end of Lethal Weapon 2, literally like Riggs is like, "I'm not a cop tonight," and Murtaugh's like, "Okay, I guess me neither," and they just go kill everyone on the boat. So but yeah, so this movie does get both sides of it, because even at the end, skipping all the way at the end, when he's like, you need to get a lot dirtier and you need to get a lot cleaner, and hey guys, let's meet in the middle and compromise. But I also love how John Spartan completely walks away from that and is like, you'll figure it out.
right. They will, Matt.
I also find it very funny, I know we're bopping around, that John Spartan, after getting unfrozen in a crazy world that he doesn't understand. And, a few jokes are made at his expense because he doesn't get things. Literally his first day on the job, he's like, doesn't get something. And he's like, I don't know. I've already given up on trying to understand this world. And I'm like, it's been a day. It's been one day and he's had it. Like, he's not going to even try to figure out what's going on. Also, nobody's helping him. So like, he gets unfrozen and there's no guide to tell him how to use his apartment. Like nothing, no one's there. And also a sideways rectangular TV is horrible. Who came up with, what can you watch on that, Eric, besides a naked woman?
I don't know, but they used it on the Flash TV show for Earth 2 as well. So
I guess it just looks futuristic.
Different.
So this is a society that's sort of had all of its personality like scared out of it. After the disasters they went through, after the diseases they survived, I guess this Dr. Cocteau came up with this plan that he's just breeding and slowly molding society to be completely passive. And
although crime-free, pretty much crime-free because there hasn't been a murder, death, kill in so many years.
But that's the other thing. It's like there's a weird strain of logic that these are almost like the Purge movies, because the Purge as a concept, as an alternate America in that storyline works. Like unemployment is non-existent. Crime is non-existent except for this one night. Of course, the idea with the Purge is that it's the wealthy white elite who are using it to wipe out minorities and the poor class. And they're rigging the system. They're rigging the game. Like it's not fair. So with this, you also see the mastermind is a villain. The mastermind of this society is sort of a weird megalomaniac, psychotic person,
right?
In the guise of a caring, peace-loving. He just wants control and to bend the world to his whims. So we meet Sandra Bullock's Huxley and Benjamin Bratt's character, and she's great in this movie. We already talked about it. She's so charming and lovely and beautiful and just really funny. And her character is one that makes for a really fun partner for Spartan, because she's like an unofficial John Spartan fan. She just doesn't kind of know it yet. She just likes the crazed chaos and violence of the world.
Because she is craving for action and adventure that she doesn't get from her life and that he represents.
And she gets dogged for it too. Like you really want to go back to that barbaric time. And her office is filled with, there's a Batman and Robin toy. Been funny if it was a Batman and Joker toy. And
there's a Lethal Weapon 3 poster, which Joel Silver produced this movie and produced those movies.
And also the Red Hot Chili Peppers album cover for Blown Up and put on her wall for Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yes, all things that she desires.
Which is funny because if you're looking for, because they're like, we need a movie poster, we need some toys, and what's a good album? And I just it's not said out loud, but the idea of Blood Sugar Sex Magic, those are 4 things that are now outlawed in San Angeles. So I think I feel like that's why it was chosen.
I think that might have been too. By the way, I also think
so are Red Hot Chili Peppers, by the way, because there's no spicy food.
Oh, that's true. Benjamin Bratt is also very funny as this very peppy. I don't know if he's her partner, but he's her buddy. I didn't realize that was Benjamin. Like Benjamin Bratt kind of became a big star, and then I went back and watched Demolition Man this a few years ago and realized, hey, that's Benjamin Bratt. But I think he's very funny in this movie as well.
He is. The Scraps, the people who live underground, who are kind of being led, even though he doesn't call himself a leader, by Edgar Friendly. They dress more ridiculously than the actual people who are wearing stupid robes up on the surface. Like,
right.
They're like, there's nothing that tells you that just because you live underground means you have to dress like you are in Mad Max. Right. But they come up dressed like they're part of Lord Humongous's like raping and pillaging crew, even though they're supposed to be peace-loving people who just want food, but they come out looking like these threatening warriors. And, that's the turn of the movie anyway. Like, you think they're supposed to be evil, but like they're not. But in turn, they look ridiculous. But anyway, I guess my point was like Bratt winds up dressing very quickly, dressing up like one of them.
He does.
We've got Judge Dredd came after this. So was like Stallone like, Rob Schneider is funny. I want him in Judge Dredd. I don't know how that worked out.
I want him in my future movies.
Yeah, all my future movies. Rob Schneider is in this in sort of a bit part playing one of the dispatchers. And the first time we meet him, he's doing a little bit of the copy guy.
Yep.
So they've got the comedian from SNL in there doing the character that he's famous for on SNL, just a little bit,
little tinge.
So when he sees Lenina, he's like Lenina, and that for those who don't know, Schneider did a recurring character on SNL,
annoying office guy.
There was, I think, was that. I always call him copy guy.
Copy guy. I'm just saying to describe him. He was the copy guy, but yeah, I think.
Yeah, the whole point was the guy who hangs out, whose desk or is situated by the copy machine. So whenever anyone needs to use the copy machine, they have to go next to his desk. And when they do, and they're not happy about it because I got to talk to this guy, all he does is say their name over and over again in different ways and give them little nicknames. And then insert celebrity host or musical guest. Right. So then Sting is there and he's like, Sting diddle ding ding,
That's
stuff like
right.
that. Are you just now remembering Sting diddle ding ding?
Yes. Rob Schneider, who's now become someone on Twitter who says things that make me go, what happened?
That happens to a lot of those late 80s and early 90s SNL people like Dennis Miller and Victoria Jackson.
Yeah.
They're crazy. They okay.
Are.
That's what Lorne Michaels does to you, Eric.
Good era for SNL, though.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. Waikiki hockey all around.
Yes.
Okay, so Simon Phoenix is brought out for a parole that's just sort of a formality. We get some a little bit of time travel jokage because we've got not just the cop, the black cop who's now older and actually remembers John Spartan. So John Spartan does know someone,
right? But
we've got the former assistant warden Smithers, now the warden Smithers as an old man, still with his glasses. They made sure to reference his name so that they could reference it again. And this is all just a formality for Smithers. He has no care in the world. He's not going to parole Simon Phoenix. But what he doesn't know is that Simon Phoenix has been programmed during his cryosleep to be a multifaceted kill machine, now knowing martial arts. And he's actively also stronger somehow. I guess you could do that in cryosleep. And he knows a lot of computer shit. So this piggybacks off Hackers last week. He hacks in this movie.
Yes. By the way, Warden Smithers, played by Andre Gregory, best known as the co-writer and co-star of My Dinner with Andre. He's not Wallace Shawn in My Dinner with Andre.
Oh, I've never seen My Dinner with Andre.
Nor have I. But I know I love the reference in Waiting for Guffman nonetheless.
I liked. Oh yeah, what was it? A lunchbox? What was it?
Yes.
Okay. I do like dinner, so maybe I should give that a try.
Right.
Simon Phoenix kills everyone there, and then it's kind of this really. It's almost the most dramatic scene of the movie, which is the cops reacting to 187s, and it's a code they don't even know. They had to look it up, and I have to say, murder, death, kill. There are a few things in this movie that actually still echo today in pop culture. One is the 3 seashells. Yep. There's some inside jokes. Another is murder, death, kill. People use this. I think metal bands have used this. Wrestling in the 90s certainly used it. I'm pretty sure it was someone's finisher, if not a faction. You know what I mean? ECW. I can't remember, but murder, death, kill was sort of another thing that got plucked out of this movie and went into other entertainment arenas.
It also sticks out to me that Stallone, of course, he's in the prologue, but he's gone from this movie for a solid 20 minutes or so. And so Sandra Bullock's really the lead of this movie.
I would say normally, because we complain about something like that in RoboCop, but because Bullock is so great,
yep,
it's kind of you can lose Spartan for a while and it doesn't matter because she can carry an entire Speed movie.
It turns out she can be a big movie star.
And also not just her, but the future world carries us through, learning the silliness of this entire new future 40 years later,
Mhm.
it's just silly. And, so the jokes carry us through as well. Simon Phoenix is let out. Wesley Snipes, both Spartan and Phoenix reacting to the world in very different ways. Also very funny. Like, even though Phoenix is going around killing people and or just beating them up, he's also Snipes is so good with his one-liners that it's very funny the way he reacts to things. Maybe not so much like doing the ching chong with the Asian people, but like
I did want to talk about that for a second.
I know it's of a different era, but it's
That's
one of those
part
things like the F word in Bill and Ted that you wish you could sort of pull out of a great movie.
Yep. At the time, I'm sure I didn't think twice about it. I didn't love it, but I also didn't think about it. Like, I just didn't think about it. And now I'm like, why does he do that? It's not like, you could say, oh, he's a villain, he can be racist. Sure, if that's going to be in any way important to the plot, in any way referenced again. These days, I will say, if in any way there was another Asian character in the movie of significance, but it's just a random. It's funny that he said a racist thing. And I do feel like
that's the one part of this movie where Snipes, I presume, his improv failed a little bit.
That's what I wonder as well. Yeah, that seems. Yeah, I don't want to be sure of that, but no
also,
matter what,
so did the director for keeping that particular take.
Probably should not have been in the movie. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. I shouldn't say probably. Definitely.
So, but anyway, they get, it's very funny because there is a dark, shadowy side of ourselves that sort of gets enjoyment out of seeing Simon Phoenix kick the ass of these people who don't know how to react. Like, the cops are called to the scene and they're told to proceed with extreme assertiveness.
Right. Very funny.
So it's funny, like, what they're told to do. And also, oh God, what's the name of the captain and the actor who plays the captain, the warden from Shawshank?
Bob Gunton. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Bob Gunton, like, his reaction to, like, when they find Phoenix, like, so Huxley is actually a great cop. She figures out where he is. Like, she does police work. And then he's like, well, that's it. We'll just send units. Good job, everyone. Like it's just a given now that anyone who hears that they're under arrest will go peacefully and quietly, because that's what happens. And so as soon as units are dispatched to the scene, what's his name? Chief Earl is like, just thinks it's over and done with. And so that's funny in its own right, because we, the audience, have seen Phoenix murder people and take their eyeballs out of their head. And so he's confident. Chief is confident that his sort of inept, ill-prepared officers are going to do anything. And of course they don't. They get killed and they get kung fu all over the joint.
And for time Phoenix yells "Olay," and it's funny.
But that's not great.
And he does say "Simon Says" as a recurring catchphrase when he does things.
I'll take it. I love it.
Sure.
And also, Spartan is then Cocteau, who we find out is behind the resurrection, the unfrosting of Simon Phoenix, because he has programmed him to eliminate Edgar Friendly, who he has deemed somebody so dangerous that he needs assassinating. Mm-hmm. He tells the Chief Earl, to do whatever it takes, and Cocteau did not plan on those methods being unfreezing John Spartan, because the one cop that knows who Spartan is and remembers Simon Phoenix is like, he's the one who caught him. He's the one you need. And I just want to talk about John being unfrozen and feeling sad about his wife. He gives his one of his catchphrases, which is "skip it," which means I don't want to deal with anything emotionally important right now or ever. Right. There is to be no pathos in this movie. I get that he's upset. He's like, you guys did this to me. This sucks. Like, I lost my wife and blah, 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 blah. But he's so somber about it and sad. But then Huxley mentions Simon Phoenix and he's like, what? It's just funny because he feels at that moment so much more concerned about Phoenix than his family. And that to me is also a very Batman thing, where it's like, oh yeah, the people I'm supposed to care about, the people I constantly push away because, I'm afraid of getting anyone hurt or killed. And I'm an emotional wreck. What's that you say about Joker? Like, that's him. Like, it's super Dark Knight.
He's focused, man.
Yeah. Okay. Then we've got Phoenix reacting to just futuristic things. There's an ego boost booth that just gives you affirmations, and that's where joy feelings come from. Then he hears a voice in his head saying, "Don't you have someone to kill?" And I laughed because it's literally Dennis Leary's headshot.
Oh God, that is so. I mean, I like the idea of it being an unshaved picture, like from before, but I put the same thing about the headshot. It's like, wow, what a nicely taken photo of that.
Yeah, it's so well
framed was an actor.
Presented. Yeah.
Yes.
Then we've got the first sort of big action moment between Simon Phoenix and John Spartan since the beginning. It takes place in a museum where Spartan realizes that he's going to get guns. Is this before or after the 3 seashells? I can't remember.
This is after the three seashells.
Yeah, that's one of the lingering jokes from this movie that just still works. It's very funny. Nobody's ever explained how it works. Like even in
once in a while on Twitter, it'll become a conversation. How do you think they work?
Yeah, decades since, nobody from the making of this movie has said, well, this is how we envisioned it working. I don't think anyone actually really had a practical way of it working. Like what I think it's literally just an absurd throwaway joke that's very funny.
And it intermixes, of course, with the citations, the morality citations. If you curse. Which, John Spartan in a funny moment decides he kind of outwits the system by saying a bunch of curses so he can get toilet paper, but also
the Soto Voce violation.
But I love the commitment on this movie that they never forget the entire movie. When Phoenix or Spartan curse, you hear the like ding in the background. Like you hear like when he's at the Taco Bell, it's like it's like a low because it's supposed to be maybe at the wall far away, but it's like
in the distance. You just always hear.
Right. Yeah. And I actually also very much liked when Simon Phoenix goes beep back to the machine that it pisses him off. So he beeps back at it.
Simon, like Wesley Snipes interacting with no one is hilarious. Because there's stretches of this movie where he isn't talking to anyone in particular. He's talking to the world or a machine, and it's hilarious.
It's very funny. Also, the direct meta reference to Stallone. He says, "Excuse me, Rambo, I need to borrow this," when he takes the gun. Whether that was a Snipes improv or it was in the script, also struck out to me because, again, same year. Oh, and then also because that happens, and then also there's the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library. I know that's a little later, but again, it was funny that Last Action Hero, Schwarzenegger obviously sending up himself, and there's the direct Stallone reference in that because Stallone starred in T2 in the movie, in that universe.
That's right. In the video store, you see him
because they're friends in real life. They had a friendly rivalry. So the fact that both these movies, they were referencing each other and themselves, and they came out a few months apart.
I do like in the museum that he goes to the Hall of Violence, which does sound like a super villain lair as far as like an evil Justice League. So we've got a bunch of violence. They don't hit each other with bullets. There's a lot of old guns and new guns. He finds like a futuristic gun, and no one gets caught. Simon escapes. There's that terrible "you're on TV" line, and then we find out that it's very RoboCop-y too, very much RoboCop in a sense where he puts a gun to Cocteau's head and can't kill him. He's got the directive; he can't kill Cocteau. I don't know if that was from RoboCop or just, that was just a sci-fi idea floating around anyway. But
I think so.
And then, in the museum, the way Snipes gets the guns is he throws a guy through the case to smash the glass.
Right.
Very funny, like part of the rhetoric. So we always say like, be well and mellow greetings, et cetera, et cetera. But what's your boggle is another one of these lines. It's great because Phoenix throws it back. He says like, mellow greetings, sir. What's your boggle? And I think he like fires a machine gun. Like it stands out to me. It reminds me too of Grosse Pointe Blank, because there's a line that carries over in Grosse Pointe Blank where Blank is like, Martin Blank's like, you're a handsome devil. What's your name? And then he says it at the end again. I always think of that when I think of mellow greetings, sir. What's your boggle? Anyway, he is, I don't want to keep bringing up Joker, but like when he when he sees the cannon and he's like, hoo, 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 he goes Cesar Romero there. Like he's doing different Jokers too. Like he's playing the hits.
A multitude. Yes.
And then he just a lot of good recurring things. Like he calls Spartan on several occasions Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that's like their relationship feels real. Like that there is history because they say these same things back to each other.
Right.
Let's talk about we don't want to run too long, but we should talk about Taco Bell. We should talk about the sex scene or the non-sex scene.
Yeah.
And just a full-on comedy moment of this movie is the Taco Bell bit. Mm-hmm. And the idea that after the franchise wars, Taco Bell was the only one to survive. So now all restaurants are Taco Bell, which means that you go to Taco Bell and you don't necessarily get Taco Bell food.
Right.
That's what restaurants are called. I don't even know what they're eating per se. But yeah.
It's nice. It's kind of, they do a good job of kind of, it's a little bit of a setup earlier because there's the Cuisine Valet Taco Bell car you see earlier. And there's this sort of stuff layered in that Taco Bell is kind of looming in the background, which of course is product placement. But in this movie also is a funny thing because it's going to have this huge, it's product placement that is given this very funny spotlight. Taco Bell was the ones who said they would do it because Burger King and McDonald's didn't want to be in an R-rated movie. Also, it's kind of a weird thing. It's like you won the franchise wars, but it's also kind of made fun of, and so it's like there's you kind of have to be in on the joke, even though you're getting a lot of advertising.
Yeah, nobody.
At the same time.
I mean, like Spartan is never like Taco Bell sucks, but he is kind of like,
right.
Oh, you're inviting me to Taco Bell? Okay, like that's fine. I'll eat it. It's so it's sort of in the middle. It is sort of neutral, but you can't escape the joke, the visual joke, not just of Sandra Bullock being behind Spartan, smiling so broadly and just so elated to be invited to Taco Bell. Like that visual gag is hilarious, as is pulling up to Taco Bell and exiting vehicles in like fancy attire, and you walk in and Dan Cortez is playing piano,
singing old theme songs,
singing the Jolly Green Giant song. So it's like all these jokes from the future are hitting you at once, like the jingles, the Taco Bell. It all works so well. And yeah, I don't know. So we talked. I think you talked about it on We Enjoy Wrestling, maybe, but your experience at Comic-Con's Demolition Man Taco Bell pop up,
which is maybe one of the greatest nights of my life, Matt.
I believe you.
I'm so sad you weren't there. For any Demolition Man fan, it was I won't repeat everything, but they did. Was it 2018? Because it was the 25th anniversary. They did at Comic-Con a Taco Bell pop-up Demolition Man sort of recreation, and it was amazing. And they had the lounge piano player singing TV jingles, and they had a bar, and they served us kind of deconstructed Taco Bell food to look like the food they get with like these little things. And they have like fancy waiters. And it was hysterical, amazing, the kind of thing you could only do at Comic-Con because those are the people that would appreciate that this exists. I was in heaven, and it was the greatest night of my life. So.
I believe you.
Or it's up there.
So, Eric, you saying that, I'm skipping all the way to the end here. My favorite line of this movie, It's not even a joke. I just love when it happens, and I love Snipes' delivery of it. When he finally thinks he's going to kill Spartan, he says, and the sprinklers are pouring down on his face, it's all wet, and he's, no joke, says, "This is the best day of my life." Like that, his delivery of that line and what it means in that moment, because he really does feel like he's going to finally kill John Spartan. Going back to Batman and Joker again. But like, this feels like you feel Phoenix believes that. Like, this is what I have spent 20 years
This is what it's all been about. Yeah.
That's my favorite line of the movie. Again, not a joke. It comes right before my biggest laugh of the movie, which is, I hope my butt doesn't look like that. But I mean, it comes after that. Okay. After Taco Bell, and after Spartan beats up a bunch of Edgar Friendly scraps, his goons, his characters stealing food. Lilina Huxley would like to have sex. And so she invites Spartan into her apartment, and they put on sex helmets and they start having virtual sex. And it looks like he's having a good time, but he just rejects it pretty quickly. It looks like it's designed to be pleasurable. Mm-hmm. He doesn't like it. He wants physical touch. And then he starts talking about, like, she's disgusted by the fact that he wants fluid transfer and physical contact. And there's an element of the pandemic that now this plays differently. Like the fact that they don't, not just for sex, but they don't high five. They don't touch each other.
Right.
There's no physical contact, like, at all, because of germs. And the fact that she did blow through a bunch of different diseases. Like they went through pandemics. So now for you and me in 2021, there's an added layer to all of this where it's like, oh, I see how they got there. Like this isn't also quite as absurd. Like,
we should also mention the widespread assumption, and I get it based on how movies work, that she was going to turn out to be his daughter. And the fact that they cut his daughter was supposed to be in the movie. They filmed scenes with her. The big thing was she was going to be one of Edgar Friendly's like revolutionaries. Like that's where she had ended up.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You can glimpse her. There's like a woman he shields near the end that was like his daughter. She had like 4 scenes. They cut her, but a lot of people at the time thought, oh, his daughter, he's mentioning who would be age appropriate. The only woman in the movie with a big part. So then people were like, what the hell? Is this going to be an incest thing? And then they thought maybe they're getting away with it by they don't have physical contact. None of that was supposed to be the case. Sandra Bullock,
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because he was frozen for 40 years.
Yeah. No, she'd be too young, and of course they knew each other in some capacity, unless she was a tiny little baby. But anyway, it was never supposed to be her, and you were supposed to meet the daughter. But I was gonna say,
like, their age difference is very Hollywood. It's 18 years in this movie, but she would be too young to be the daughter. So, right. But then Spartan is very upset, and he's like, and he has all these nicknames for sex. He's like, the this, that. And then he says the hunka chunka, which to my knowledge has never been used to describe sex. I don't know what circles are using the
candy. What is that?
The hunka chunka. It sounds like a Ben and Jerry's flavor. I don't know what it is, but it sounds chunky. And I don't know if I'm in on this. I'll have to ask Batman. Does Batman do the hunka chunka? Is that not what heroes do?
The sex scene, I believe, was the only scene that the original actress playing Huxley, which was Lori Petty from League of Our Own, Point Break, and Tank Girl. She was originally cast as Huxley. Apparently, she and Stallone did not get along, and I think that scene
super quick. Like they filmed for 2 days. They were like oil and water, and they just did not get along at all. So yeah,
they filmed for 2 days, and I think that they only filmed the stuff in her apartment. So again, I like Lori Petty, but Sandra Bullock, the fact that she must have auditioned. They already knew her for them to call her in so much last minute, but clearly meant to play this role that, she came in and killed it.
Also, this movie was a little ahead of its time as far as like what the Matrix was doing. So like the fact that these people in cryo freeze can be programmed with skills. Right. Spartan can knit, but Phoenix comes out very Matrix style. Like he knows computers and he knows Kung Fu and all the things that Neo was doing in that movie. Then we'll skip down to he confronts that when he finds out that Cocteau released Phoenix, he confronts Cocteau. It leads to a thing where they want to arrest him, but he's like, no, you can't arrest me because I refuse to go with you. He can just do that because it's that kind of society. And he goes down to the sewers with Huxley and what's Brat's character's name? Garcia. And we get more of Dennis Leary. We only got a few moments with him previously. And the movie stops for a minute to let him have a Dennis Leary monologue. It does. So like Rob Schneider getting a little bit of his copy guy into this movie.
But this is even more.
Yeah. Leary, anytime Leary was kind of cast in a movie around this time, because he does it in The Ref too. The Ref is filled with Leary style rants, even though I think The Ref is a great movie and the funniest parts are not his rants.
Right.
That he does a little Dennis Leary style diatribe where he's like, I want to, fuck a humpback whale while lighting my head on fire. That's not verbatim. I don't know can't remember what he says, but that's the type of stuff that Denis Leary used to do on stage while chain smoking and making weird noises. And it was a big hit. He was a super hot stand-up commodity for a while, thanks to MTV, I think primarily.
Showing those promos, which were very much that kind of stuff, straight to camera.
Yeah, he did a lot of that kind of thing. I want to know, though, people who don't know Denis Leary from his early 90s stand-up and only know him as an actual actor from things like Rescue Me or other movies. Like, if they go back and watch this movie, what do they think of that rant? Do they just think it's like, oh, this is just a cool, rebellious, homeless man rant? Like, I don't know what they would think. Like, you and I spot it as like, oh, this is his stand-up bit. Right. But like those who don't know that old comedic style of his, I wonder what they make of it.
Yeah. It's very of the moment. By the way, I was trying to spot because so Jack Black is in there, by the way, has one of Leary's guys. He doesn't have any dialogue.
John Spartan's daughter.
Yes. But he's much more prominent on camera than John Spartan's daughter ended up. He's like standing right next to Leary when Leary gives that monologue, and Leary like kind of looks right at him. So you get a good look at a young Jack Black in there. And I wondered what they were talking about on set. Benjamin Bratt, Sylvester Stallone, Sandra Bullock, Denis Leary, and Jack Black when they were between takes that day. Hopefully fun was had by all.
Yeah, they were like, hey, did you I'm trying to think what was going on. It's like, did you watch that new show, Friends?
Yes. Jack Black is credited as Wasteland Scrap #2.
Oh, who was Wasteland Scrap #1?
He didn't become the next Jack Black, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he went on to star in School of Cock. All right. So yeah, we've got the Denis Leary rant in there. We've got a big car chase. Then it all leads to a big showdown. So Phoenix convinces Cocteau, because Cocteau's an idiot, to unfreeze a few of his old friends, and he swears they're not mad dog killers, but they are. One of them is Jesse Ventura. And it's just interesting that it's not just Jesse Ventura. There's several of them, but they're not all defeated at the end. Like if they take out like 2 or 3 guys, but there was more than that, including Jesse Ventura, who's recognizable to us as not just from movies, but from wrestling. And so for him to be in there, to be in the scene, in a few scenes, to be in the moment where he gets them to kill Cocteau because he can't do it himself.
And Ventura gets like the main kill on him.
He does. And he's also present in the underground shootout fight when they're trying to kill Edgar Friendly and John Spartan at once. But then he along with, I think, a couple other faces, they're just not famous to me. I don't know if there were scenes that were cut out where they actually take out more guys.
There were, Ventura and Stallone had a big fight.
They were taken out, but it just seems like they vanished from the movie. And if the adventures of John Spartan continued, it would be to track down these criminals that got away because he didn't take them all out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think basically the studio wanted the movie to be tighter and shorter. And so I think there might have been a little bit of crossover with the stuff with the daughter, because like I said, like there's a moment where if you look carefully, John Spartan like shields this woman who's just a random woman with Leary, but was supposed to be his daughter. And then in the midst of that, he was supposed to have a big fight with Jesse Ventura. I mean, they filmed it, but got cut out.
In the final fight between Spartan and Phoenix, they finally, Spartan's finally able to kill Phoenix with the cryogenic freeze stuff. He kicks his head off, very T2 style. Starts freezing him and shattering him. Get the best day of my life line, which I think is a great line and a great delivery. Then the music, I don't know who did the music for this, but the music in the final scene, again,
is Elliot Goldenthal, who I mostly think of for doing the Schumacher Batman movies.
This is what I was going to say. The music at the end, and I'm sorry to keep going back to fucking Batman, but the music at the end is very much Elfman Batman 89 Cathedral. The fight scene, the music that's used in Batman's fight with the big tough black goon at the end, that specifically, because you and I know that score well.
Yep.
But like the music in the fight at the end of this movie is sort of similar to that. It's got a sort of a carnival style to it. Again, I don't know what they're trying to ape here, but now that you mentioned that, yeah, he did other
2 years later, they'd hired him to do Batman movies. So yeah.
Well, there you go. I'll say one more thing and then you can close us out. Is this one of the cases? The director is named Marco Brambilla or Brambilla. And I've always heard, now Stallone's big hit right before this was with at the moment of the era, credited action director like Rennie Harlan. We all knew him. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, unless he was directing movies himself, Stallone, I heard or I read somewhere, is somebody who stealth directed his own movies. Yeah. Okay.
Or just hired people that didn't have a big resume that he could kind of boss around. Yeah.
Is that, and I feel like that's the case with Marco Brambilla, where this is another instance of Stallone getting someone in there just to fill the director's slot, but really it's Stallone that's doing it.
I don't know specifically on this. And by the way, there is a commentary on the Blu-ray, which I don't have, that I want to hear that's from the director. I certainly think I've heard that about Judge Dredd, which just doesn't work as a movie. But yeah, I assume that it has to be some version of that. I mean, this director, Marco Brambilla, he did Excess Baggage a couple years later, the Alicia Silverstone, Benicio del Toro odd pairing movie, but he's mostly stuck to just kind of music videos and like art installation. And
he didn't do anything before this.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like this has to be one of those covert Stallone directorial projects.
Maybe at least to some extent. I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah.
I don't know anything for certain. This is just my assumption.
Yep.
Okay. What do you want to say about Demolition Man?
Last couple thoughts I'll throw out there. Oh yeah, the exact quote that I was thinking of earlier was that first Stallone saying, "You're going to regret this for the rest of your life," both seconds of it, and then her saying that she loved the joy way you pause to make a glib witticism before doing battle. I thought that was really great. Also, I thought about the fact that this was like, because Demolition Man was successful, but it wasn't a huge hit. I think it was mostly played to like action crowds, which is why Sandra Bullock became a star from Speed the next year, which was one of those movies that kind of transcended action to just everyone went to see Speed. But I thought about how a lot of the actors in this movie were a year away from kind of a big thing happening for them. Sandra Bullock was Speed first and foremost. But Nigel Hawthorne, who plays Cocteau, would be nominated for an Oscar for Madness at King George, which he did the year after this. And then Bob Gunton, which is, he's a character actor. He's been a million things, but Shawshank Redemption is the thing that you will call him out for being in, and that was the year after this too. So we had a lot of people that were 1 year away from like a very big year for them. What else? Mention Jesse, Laurie Petty, Be Well, Be Fucked made me laugh. I liked again, this movie has some just little fun things, because the idea of the thing you're eating is actually something gross when he's told it's a rat burger is done before, but then he keeps eating it. I like that he's just like, he goes, this is a rat burger, but then he just enjoys it and he keeps eating it as they walk.
I know, but also like, did you see the LA he came from?
Right. Like rat burgers.
Like I said, that wasn't just like there's too much crime, Los Angeles. That was Godzilla just went through here. So
right.
That was So I feel like also the burger, the way he ate that burger, it felt like it was delicious.
It did. Right. Also it made me look up. I did not remember how or when Jeffrey Dahmer died. So when Simon Phoenix has the line about Jeffrey Dahmer, I love that guy, when like looking at who they can unfreeze. Yeah. And it made me look up the fact that Dahmer was killed in prison in 1994, a year after this movie.
Oh, so. Yeah. Well, like you said, everyone was 1 year away from something big.
Something big was going to happen to them. Certainly for Dahmer.
I'll add one thing is that I think in this year and last year and just of recent memory, the Raspberry Awards have been sort of like something that I feel like the critical community, movie community wants to die. And it's just like, it's unfair. It's unnecessary. It's kind of like seen its day where it was a joke. It's like needlessly mean to people for, in an era when we don't need any of that. Mm-hmm. And so all I wrote in my notes was fuck you, because when I read that Sandra Bullock got nominated for a Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actress, I was like, not only is it unnecessarily harsh and insulting to even hold these awards, but it's also wrong. Like,
right.
Like they're just.
I think
wrong
even
about
people who
too.
didn't like the movie liked her in it. I
Right.
think the reviews were mediocre, and I think this movie has definitely been one that's grown its reputation. Like people kind of appreciating it more over time. But no one was hating on her. Like she was, people were calling her out as like a bright spot, even if they didn't like the movie. So that's just a sort of ridiculous thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's things that need to go away, like Mr. Skin and like things that just don't belong
of the past.
2021.
The last two things I'll mention are they had action figures for this movie, which is a very 90s thing of like R-rated movies getting action figures line. I have a few. I love them of John Spartan and Simon Phoenix. And it's one of those movies that because its cult has risen and now there's a lot more like oral histories of and looks back at, and then the fact that thing even happened at Comic-Con, there's always talk of a sequel that percolates up and Stallone will be asked about it. And he says, we're talking about it. And you never know how much that's true or not, but we are living in the day and age of the MacGruber Peacock show. So who the fuck knows? I don't need a sequel to Demolition Man. But obviously I'd be curious if they ever do it.
I would take one if it was just Sandra Bullock again, like just give her the sequel. Like
if you bring back Daniel Waters and Sandra Bullock, because I love this movie. I think it would be even better if like Daniel Waters was like part of it from start to finish, because I do think you feel a movie that had different iterations, including a straight drama iteration in its script. But I still love what we got. But yeah, so yeah, bring back Daniel Waters from the start, put Sandra Bullock in it, and we're good.
Yeah, just call it According to Huxley.
There you go.
All right. Thank you for listening to us go on and on and on and gush about Demolition Man. Demolition Man we like. Is it high art? No, but it is and again, like as mentioned, it's ridiculous and there are things that don't quite make sense, but it's so fun. It's so fun, and the performances are really great. And if you want to see Stallone lighten up, which he kind of rarely does, and if he does, it's usually not in a great project, or it doesn't work. But here it does, so it's very funny. Demolition Man, everyone, 1993, directed by nobody, but really Stallone. Okay, until next time when we talk about Speed, a great another fun movie that, as Eric mentioned, just broke huge. I know for a fact that one of the things that brought all the milkshakes, that brought all the girls to the yard, was Keanu Reeves' milkshake. Yes,
although we'll talk. I know we're running way long anyway, but we'll talk next week about how many times Keanu Reeves has had to prove himself over and over again, and this and sell people on credibly being an action star, and this is one of them. But
all right, until then, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shakma.
Shakma, 3 seashells.
Shakma!